G'day. Today is another repair video for some gear that I bought online. Of course, Amazon again. However, this is from the actual dealer this time, Lord of Battles. They're actually a pretty reliable company for what they provide. Usually it is pretty decent stuff. I wouldn't recommend helmets from them because more often than not it's only 16 gauge. When it comes to helmet material, 14 gauge or thicker is better. 14 gauge, 2mm. But, however, what I did get was a pair of Pauldrons. For the most part, they're pretty decent, good size, good shape. A little on the big side maybe, but it doesn't matter too much. But the problem is, they have a tendency to put all their rivets way too close together. And as a result of that, when you try to flex it, it doesn't really want to flex very well. You get more than half of the plate overlapping instead of 2/3 out and free and 1/3 on overlap, as well as maybe sometimes a quarter is even good. But because of that, you end up losing most of the Pauldron's proper length. This one is a little more flexible than the other, however. This one doesn't want to flex much at all. And part of that flex you want is also outward flex. You don't want it just sitting rigid. You want a little bit of outward flex as well as the inward. Like this, it wants to lift up off of the arm when you raise your arm, creating a big gap and an easy point for something to get caught in. So what I'm going to be doing is grinding out all of the rivets and replacing the straps on the inside. So we're going to get to that once I kick the dogs out, since I'm going to be running equipment.
Enchanters, the time has come to be alive in the circle of Magi, where we will thrive with our brothers. Enchanters remind that time will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never straighten into line. What we plead will be a faithful and decree, where a man will not retreat from the defeat of his fathers. Enchanters, a time has come for better lines. We will cut this knotted ties, and some may live and some may die. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see. Can you come to see?
Alrighty, so I got the rivets all ground out. Time to reassemble. Something to note, that if you do this yourself, make sure you have the right part facing upward. We're going to just start off with the very bottom plate. Because of the way the overlap works, it needs to start from the bottom to the top so that you can actually rivet each one in. I like to use, of course, copper slating nails. They are pretty effective as a rivet and very easy to set. both of them are done. And I'll go in here in a minute, grab my gambeson, and try them on, see how well they fit with that. And from there, these are pretty much done. They're a really simple project, really easy to accomplish. It's that simple to try to repair the mistakes of another blacksmith. This isn't the first time I've had to do that. There was a coat of plates some time ago I had to do a lot of repair work on, to the extent I actually had to cut off both the front and the back bottom plates so that it actually could be worn. These were actually hanging down past the leg bone and in the way of just general movement. You could not move with these things on. Alrighty, so got them on. They're actually not bad. I do got a little bit of gapping here, but that's mostly because my arming point is too low for this set of pauldrons. For the ones I made for my other armor, it's actually just right. I will need to adjust the arming point to where it's up further back and higher, and then it'll sit at a more proper height. However, just as is, these actually fit quite nicely. It's very obvious they're a little low, so don't critique that, as I'm still gonna work out the issues with the gambeson, added a couple more arming points, things like that. But beyond that, with the fact that they're sitting low, they still aren't impeding arm movement, and they're definitely a little more comfortable than they were when I first tried them on and realized that they had no flex. They were even binding on themselves when they'd flex inward, until I pushed the outside edges in a little bit to add a little bit more curve to the fold of it. They might need a little more reshaping, but beyond that though, Lord of Battles I can give a full recommendation of. It's just be a little discerning in what you're purchasing. Not all of their gear is great, but for what it's worth, some of their gear you can actually rely on for actually being decent. These were 100% usable in their arrival state. The only reason that I adjusted them is they did not work for what I wanted. Beyond that though, anyone else would be perfectly pleased. These actually came with some rondelles. The whole purpose of these is just to protect your armpit a little more should a thrust go in there. And these tie underneath or over top, whichever, the same arming point as the pauldrons themselves. And once I am able to do the full armor review, it's coming up pretty quick. I actually got several pieces. That's why I didn't do a short for it. I decided I'd actually do just a sit-down review of the gear itself. But when I get to that point, I'm going to go full detail of the armor itself and my thoughts on it. It's, in short, all the pieces I can recommend. But beyond that, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful for you in your own armor repair work or adjustment for fitting. And let me know what you want to see in the next one.